Hello and welcome to this first PD live stack minus res guide. So I've been asked for quite a long time now, a couple of days maybe into the league and so on, back and forth on this build I've been working on. It's been taking me quite a long time. I think we're around a little bit over a weekend maybe. And I've gotten it to a pretty good point where I'm comfortable to say that it feels rather good. It has a ton of single target and it has a very good AoE. As you can see here, this is my final, like this is how far I've gotten. I can push it way further, but now I decided it was time to finally give it out, and so this is what I've settled with. So first things first, before I go over everything, I'm gonna try and make this video as short as possible so that you can just skip wherever in the video when you need to see something specific and so on. But first and foremost, I'm gonna go over the talents. So as you probably can see, this is a surgical bloodletting build. So we're gonna be using this, and this is the tree for this. This is we're gonna be going Surgeon's Vortex, which is been the strongest surgical bloodletting skill for a long time, basically. And the reason why we're going this is because it actually transformed the skill from, and normally it has all the attacks on this, projectile and everything, but this changes it to only a melee hit. And since we're just a full out first melee build, this is the strongest and strongest node he still has. So yeah, and our main source of damage for this is gonna be Lifeblood Harvest, which is an vitality proc chance conversion. As you can see, I have 6 out of 5 and such, but just ignore that for now. That's because I have a dice I will show later. So yeah, this is our main skill. It's not much else to go. I did try and take the flat damage note here, but I found out just because we are bleeding constantly, it's better to just take this because it's a 50% multiplier, which is just way better in 10 out of 10 cases. So stick for this. Yeah, so we take all 3 synergies and then 1 point into these filler. You could call them filler points, yeah. And 1 point into Toxic Flask, and this is the tree for this. The only reason you're doing this is because you want this. You can ignore all of these. You just want to use this. It gives you a 10-second buff, which gives you all of the shown buffs here. And then we're gonna use Randy the Rancid Rat just for movement. If you're familiar with PD ever, this is your movement skill. You just use this whenever to jump between maps and farming. Next up, this is probably a lot of people, and first of all, you're gonna realize I'm 53k health. And you're probably gonna think, oh, we have full vitality, right? Makes sense. I'm also 400 of it. But with the recent nerfs to Devout Doctor, we're actually not exclusively focusing on this, unfortunately. This node here, you actually want to keep it as low as possible. Around 10 to 20 points in itself is enough to get the most value out of this. You see I have 13 in it here. But if we look right here in offensive, I'm getting 902 flat physical damage at the moment. And if I take, let's put it to 1 real quick. Now it's at 1. And I'm at 873. So as you can see, I'm gaining like literally 30 flat fizz from gaining points this. So when you're at this point where you have a lot of all skill points, just keep it at 1 and maybe take Lifeblood Hour instead. And now you're also probably wondering why you're not just putting 1 point in this. Well, this is where the build is gonna come to life, right? So now I'm gonna go to our Incarnation tree, and this is where all the interesting things are gonna be. So first of all, for this build to work, we need to path to this node right here. Hercules Grip is a node that allows you to build two-handers, which is very strong for a physical build, right? So focus first going this, and then you get this black hole, you port down here, and now ignore all these nodes I have here if you're not high level, right? And just exclusively go for these nodes right here. So if you look at this one, it says plus 20% of your negative always are added as increased max life. So this is why all my life comes from that you're seeing here, which is quite good, right? And then you can see my negative always added as increased damage here. So this is where I've been getting all my damage from. And this just, all of these notes here just give you a bunch of minus always, which synergizes really well with these two. And then you can take this for 15% damage taken mitigated. It's just another defensive skill, basically. Yeah. And then when you're done with these, you have these two, like this tree here, and this tree here. I would go for this. This is just a nice 2-point, very valuable, some max life and bit, right? Make sure you get this one here, this one here, and this one here. This is just to completely max out your deadly blow. With these three, you should be able to hit 100% with just one deadly blow item. Most first gear has one row with this. So yeah, this is gonna be easy for you. And now with some filler points, I would go this route right here and get this. This just gives you like a bunch of damage. Now I did test a lot with the space time and it doesn't seem like it works for this skill at all. So if you're wanting this, you might want to skip out on this and just get something else that we know works. Yeah, aim for this. And now as you can see here, I have this and I'm trying to pivot toward this. This is just when you get later in the game and you have enough crit, you basically want to ditch your crit items that you have in your build and you just want to focus on crit from the tree, because everything else here is going to take way too long and way too many levels. As you can see, I'm 66. It's going to take me HG level 100 maybe to get where I want to be. So just take this crit for now so you can work on your gear. This is going to help you replace gear eventually a lot faster. Yeah, so now we're going to the gear. So for this build, I went with dual wielding the Guruk Stone Crushers. These are very, very strong. Might be best. There could eventually be some synergy with Mikas later on. But for now, this is 100% the best. Like for beginning, mid-game, in-game, it's viable. Like you're already doing billions. I don't think you need to swap these out. You just need a really, really good roll. So what you're going to be focused on when you want these is the base damage. The white number you see up here that says 170. And then you want to be getting enhanced damage as high as possible. And then you want to get the VIT, because that's what we use for blood surgical letting. You might think all skills is good, right? But I would not focus on all skills at all. In the beginning I had +3 and +2 on mines. The stats in this weapon are just outraging the all skills at all costs. So just try and buy one first that doesn't have high all skills, but all the other mentioned ones. And then afterwards, when you feel like you have a good enough one, I would go for +5 with the star levels, as you can see. This one is +5. I got really unlucky in this one, so this one is +3, but it's supposed to be +5. Yeah. And now real quick, when we're going over the weapons, I want to also go over some very mandatory items. So these boots here, as you saw in the tree, I had the minus res. And this is where the minus res is also going to come from. Tarek's trade-off, if you get a really good roll, like -75%, they go up to, I think, before they star leveled. These go really high up and they give you a bunch of minus res, which is damage and life. So these are quite mandatory. Probably the best that you can even get. So try and get these with a really good roll and a good satanic crystal roll. This is the second mandatory item, I would say, for a beginner and also people trying to pivot towards Fist PD, maybe from Poison or so on. This is also just a bunch of minus res for almost no cost. Super good, and some MF experience gain, you know. It's pretty good. I do have this, which you can get later on. So what I was using before I actually decided to make the video with, I made a one upgrade real quick. And I was using Guruk's Hard Charm before instead of this. Because now I swapped from Guruk's Pebble from a Raven's Claw. Normally you would just use Pit Lord's Vanquisher with a Raven's Claw. I don't have one right now, but This is what I'll be using instead of this. It's very cheap, and you can +5 it at no cost. As you can see, I have this. It's just both of them give you a bunch of crits, so you max it out very early on, especially when you don't have enough points to be taking these later on. So focus on that first before you do any of my upgrades at all costs. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on crit, and it's not going to feel complete at all. Yeah, I got really lucky on mine. It's fully maxed, it's perfect. So this one is gaining me a lot of attack damage from my vid, and just to show how much it actually is, or impactful it can be doing this set, because since we're using both of the Gurux Steel Crusher, we're getting this set bonus, which is life and all skills and fist reduction. So let me see, I take this off. How much am I at? I'm at 5,301. Take this off, I'm at 4,673. So it's a pretty massive increase when you can ditch some of the crit, like I mentioned earlier, and go for some big quality of life conversion items. For my chest plate, I'm using Executioner's Cocoon. This one is pretty, yeah, it's pretty, I don't think there's much else you can get that would actually beat this. So just try and get a one with a good roll, maybe a good Satanic Crystal roll. Another really important thing is you want to get at least level 1 Divine Piercing on this. This makes it so that your blood surgical letting doesn't get consumed when it hits the target. Like, they actually pierce through and they keep spinning till they expire. Very important. For my gloves, I have these, the Skinwalker's Paw. They are from the Prophet set. They are just really good. Double crit chance, crit damage, attack speed, fist damage. They barely cost anything now, so you could technically just keep buying a pair and then roll with a Satanic Crystal till you get something you feel that's very valuable and good to you. And that way you can keep working on them, maybe even +5 them. I think for now these are at least the best, because the premise of this build is that we don't want any item worth always at all. We are a minus rest stagger. So you need to try and think of an upgrade that doesn't actually give you resistance. Yeah, and this is also my farming build I want for now. This is also a very cheap option if you need levels early on. I would use this in the beginning, but realistically, if I'm running and I just want a bunch of speed for clearing and damage, Build of Scrolls is a super good option too. This actually fulfills my Deadly Blow to 100%, because I have the runes that I showed in here. 25, 50, 75, and then 25 from here. So this is a really good alternative, as I was mentioning, with when you want to max out Deadly Blow. So you could also go for this, but I would say if you need the XP, probably go for this first. So that's why I had this on initially. Yeah. So for my wings, I went with Skinwalker's Sigil. It's just like a super good ring, because we get a lot of minus total attack speed from dual wielding in the 3 node. This one right here, you can see it says -25 increase total. So this just helps alleviate some of that minus you're gonna get from it, and also gives movement speed a 10% multiplier, because we bleed, so we get more damage from monsters affected by bleed. Super strong. This is my other ring, the Stress, and I got really lucky in this one with a 30% crit roll. This one is not mandatory at all, but I would probably, if you can't afford this one, I would get Guidance Band before this, with like a +3 and 12% crit chance, another good option. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything for my gear. As you can see, I have a really basic charm setup, just some life with cheese, but I think this one is just good overall. It's just so much life. Twin Blade, crit chance, crit damage. Shift, you could swap this one out for Dev Scythe. That's another buff, but this one is better. It's just that we're not gaining it from any other item, so it's like a free buff. I don't remember which helm. I think there was a helm that had this. But yeah, for now I think Shiv is just the best option overall. Nunchucks, pretty good. You could also go for Razor Blade here if you feel like you have enough attack speed at this point. Okay, and now when you see my charms, you're probably gonna think about this, right? The overloaded dice. I was lucky enough to get this. For people that doesn't know what this is, it gives you +1 all sub skills in here, which is very, very strong, obviously. But I actually didn't even play or had this in the early stages of the game, and I was still doing a lot of damage. So just to show, like, I'm actually still doing, hey, I'm still doing a bunch of billions. Like, it's not necessary. It's just like a high quality of life upgrade that gives you maybe, I would say, probably a couple bill single target and maybe 20 bill AoE. It's not that much, but obviously it's a super strong one that you should focus on getting if you plan on playing this build for a long time, for sure. Yeah. And my other one, I'm just using a crow's feather here. It has +5 always, which is kind of annoying, but it's such a low amount, so the 20% increase movement is just nice to have. And also, that's another thing, real quickly. If you already high level than me, and you have a bunch of movement speed, because this build actually gains a lot from it, you could go from here and take quick step. This converts some of your movement speed to attack damage, which also help the damage on your surgical bloodletting. So for that, this would also be a good option to keep. I have some life charms. I have this one, just on flat big life. I have this, more life, and then I would get, like, as you fill us, either life or enhanced damage. This is actually a bunch of damage, and they're pretty cheap and easy to find, so I would probably just settle for this. Yeah. Then I'm using the orbital set here. This is another really cheap set that's super convenient and good to have. It just gives you a bunch of damage for like literally 3 slots. Very good. And then for my last charm, I have Anubis Ang charm. Just a bunch of life. Pretty good. Yeah. I honestly think that's it. Oh yeah, and obviously for your pots, I'm using protein shake, caffeinated coffee container, and elixir of death, and a regular health pot, just in case you need to fill up your life if you're, you know, fighting in Misty Swamp against some wasps. Everybody know that. Yeah, and if you don't know how to use caffeinated coffee container real quick, you just use a different setup with a molten paw. So what I do is I just press the button for swapping my loadout, get this buff the last 5 minutes, you press the coffee and you just attack, and it just gives you like a couple billions more DPS. I only use it every now and then when I'm bossing, so it's not really mandatory, but it's a nice quality of life if you feel like you're lagging single target. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to say. I'm pretty happy with how far I ended up with the build. There might be some upgrades later on, but for now I feel like this is pretty complete. And yeah, leave a like if you have any questions, and see you maybe in the next build video. Bye.